So let's say that you know somebody, and that person is exactly where the Apostle Paul is describing them in the 4th chapter of the book of Ephesians, where he talks about people who are deceiving people, and they're using cunning craftiness, the Apostle Paul says, and causing people to be deceived, to be beguiled, and live a lie, but yet follow that lie and it affect them for the rest of their lives. And so the Apostle Paul is talking about ministering to these people and attempting to bring truth into their heart, because what's happened is a person has somehow or another been deceived in some way or another, maybe through some type of a situation with another Christian. They've now been hurt, and now they've determined in their mind that all Christians are that way. And as a result of that, I'm not going to have anything to do with Christianity or God or the Holy Spirit or anything. I'm just going to live my life, just do whatever I feel like I need to do. And maybe when I die, it'll all work out, and I can go to some place that's a kind of a beautiful, beautiful setting. People often have these fantasies about heaven that I don't have to do anything to make it possible. Just someday I'll just show up there. Well, I do believe in grace, and I do believe in God's desire for people to enter into the joys of the Lord and not to have to face damnation. And so it's the very heart of God that every person becomes saved, on the path to heaven, all of the wonderful things that we would hope for in an individual. But again, let's say you have somebody, and they're following that path, and they are being deceived by the enemy of God. And you can tell it. You can just see it by their expressions and their actions, and you love this person, and you don't want to see them perish. You want to help them. Well, the thing is, when it comes down to conclusions, everybody has to make up their own mind, and I can't make up somebody else's mind, but I can certainly attempt to be an influence in their lives. So the first thing I've got to determine that I've got to do is that I've got to walk the walk. And I've got to live it in such a way that it's consistent, because this is what happens to so many people who lose their way. They're looking over here and they're seeing people who they say, yes, I am a Christian believer. But yet they're not living up to it. And that's confusing to somebody who's on the outside looking in and having to make their own determinations about their faith and their own belief in God and all of that. And oftentimes they see examples that are not as they should be. And so they just turn away. And so if we have a person that we know has been somehow or another in that experience, they've lost their way, then they need to become a target of our prayers and our times of just taking every opportunity we have to just sow some seed into their lives and just keep believing and keep praying that God will get hold of their heart. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.